Grim blood. Yeah, bruv. The game ain't hard when you got the trump card. It's all rigged and I'm calling more games than Bob Uecker. Changing the outcomes like Duke Nukem to a new future. Win some, lose some, bag some, choose none. Will the aliens come save the day? Are we going to listen to what they say? The uranium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean and Sylvanians. Bloodlines, overtime, dragon descendants. Scripting bread and circus lizards in attendance. Serpent queens, breaking dreams, dragging me down. The underworld royalty is all about how much you can clown. I'm talking about the number 9.
Coffee, where you at?
You didn't know, well now you do.
What's up, Dana?
Numerous fears, what's in the hearse? I am who I am. Man with a plan, where you at with the rebellion? 1 in a million, us against a billionaire reptilians. Look at the word rebellion, spells out the same as the rebel lion. Ain't even trying, ain't living, you're dying. Well done to the skeleton. No time for rebellion, strawmen led by spellmen, dialectic cave.
Hey Maggie, mic check.
Waiting for the aliens, problem, reaction, solution, little contribution. The script tells that they cast spells like nuclear fusion, spreading confusion, lie distribution. Old as hell, ain't even some new shit.
All the uranium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean Transylvanians.
Thank you, Sojo.
The uranium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean Transylvanians. Will the aliens come save the day? Are we gonna listen to what they say?
Let's go. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back, ballers, to another episode of Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Cody. We were hanging out in the back room for a little bit, waiting for Cody. He's probably sleeping in, but as we all know, it's a big ask. It's a tall glass of water for him to get up in the middle of the night for him to join us. So hopefully Cody will be joining us at some point. We'll see. Either way, though, I mean, we got the Godfather, as I always call him, Rambo. Rambo, can you hear me okay? I see you're on mute, brother.
I can hear you. Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries. We're all good.
And thank you for the compliment. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. You always tell me that it makes you feel old when I say that, but
no, yeah, that does not make me feel old. No. And plus, being old is not a bad thing.
Yeah. And hey, Dana, thank you for the compliment. Yeah, super jelly of your amazing garden. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I did a post on that on my Instagram a night or two ago. Very proud of it. Got over 20 different produce in my backyard now. That's a huge shout out to my wife. She's the one that started it. I'm just the one that goes out there and waters it every day. So it's really cool to see things grow when you put the time in. So I encourage everybody, if you haven't done so already, even if you don't have a backyard, you guys can grow produce inside. There's a lot of technology out there, equipment you guys can buy for infrared light and things like that. But thank you, Dana. I really appreciate it. Sojo says, Rambo with a heart. Salute. AJ, the MC. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. S. Rambo, you are the Godfather for real. Salute to you.
No, thank you. Thank you, Mr. S.
100%. Yeah. And I told you this, Rambo. I think Myron, he got game. He might be jumping on in a little bit. He has the link. So we'll see when he pops in, if he has an opportunity. But let's get started. Quick intro. My name is AJ, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. You guys can find all of my work and content here on YouTube, as well as on Instagram, spelt the same way, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. please feel free to send me an email at any time at wordplaybook, 3 O's in book, at gmail.com if you guys are interested in any of the content that I've written over the years. Speaking of Myron, him and I have even loosely talked about potentially putting a book together, especially with a lot of the biblical stuff that he's been touching on with King James and a lot of the wrestling connections, right, that you were shouting him out on last week, Rambo. So something to think about. Hit me up. I also have my Patreon page, patreon.com/on the money ball. Only 2 L's in ball with that one, for anybody that's interested in the sports leans and the notes and things before game time. Give me a shot. I'll let Cody introduce himself once he gets in. So I'll pass it off to you, Rambo. Please let the viewers know where they can find you and support you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks again for promoting my work. And this is where I post, patreon.com/thetruthcodes. There is some content for free content. You can join for free. My latest post, which is a written post, is for free. So if you join now, you can see my latest post, which is has to do with well, ties into a lot of what's going on, a theme I've been talking about all year. And it's a web, and it has to do with the pedestrian, they call them. What somebody trespassed at the Denver International Airport and was hit by a plane and actually sucked into the engine. I've been talking about things related to that. Jet propulsion. We just had the NASA launch. So rocketry, jet propulsion. And what's behind that? It's the occult that's behind that. It's Jack Parsons, who's a follower of Crowley. That's what my latest post has to do. It's called The Watchtower. And I can go over some of it today as well. But it's on patreon.com. You can see it even if you subscribe for free. But to get all the content, it's $5 a month. And you have access to the Codebreaker community Discord. And I say this every week, how deeply I appreciate my audience and contributors to my channel. Very brilliant contributors. You can see their decodes on the Discord server. It's called Codebreaker Community Server, but also in the comment section of each video and post. A lot of brilliant, I recommend reading the comments, a lot of brilliant contributions, which I say it again, can't say it enough, I'm deeply appreciative of. And you can get access to all of that. And I'm also on Instagram, instagram.com/thetruthcodes.
Spelt exactly as it is, The Truth Codes. No extra S's or T's or anything like that. I can attest, as I do every single week, you guys, seriously, $5 a month. I mean, not a day, not a week. This is the best deal in town. I've been telling Rambo for years now at this point that he should up his price. He should, but he's not. He's a humble guy. He understands that, it's a tough ask really at all for anybody to sign up for anybody's Patreon and, financially support people. But I'm telling you guys, seriously, not only do you get everything that Rambo does, but you also get full access to his Discord community. And I could be the first to say it's almost overwhelming, like how much info is flowing in on that Discord. And it's amazing the community that you built over there, Rambo. So
yeah,
shout out to you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I would like to be more engaged on Discord, but it's a good thing that there's so many contributions that I would be spending my full time just responding. Because I appreciate, but I do try to respond. For the most part, I respond to every comment on the Patreon, and I appreciate all the comments. Very insightful and brilliant and supportive.
Yeah, I mean that they're a big part of all of our content, right? Like that, we don't always find everything ourselves. I mean, shit, I found things with you and you found things with me, and it helps build upon that. Just imagine when you have a whole community behind you.
Yeah.
So, and Rambo, you're so humble and kind to make sure that you go out of your way to shout people out when you do find things that are brought to you based off of what you're looking at. So
yeah, thanks. You do the same thing as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important, right? You know, it's like wherever you found it, you know, even if that person didn't find it, it's like just let people know where you found it so you can help, you know, help grow the community. I think that's important. So we're gonna dive in. Rambo, I know you weren't aware of this story. I mean, this only broke a couple hours ago. But you know, Ball Don't Lie, you know, me being the basketball fan that I am, I couldn't help but lean into this story that just broke only a few hours ago. We have Memphis Grizzlies forward Brandon Clark, who is reportedly dead at the age of 29. Diving into the article, it says that he died yesterday on May 11th, which we'll touch on in a second. But the news broke today, right? May 12th. Well, that's the day that leaves 233 days remaining in the year, just like his full name, Brandon Clark, in reverse, right? It's also the 51st prime. I was trying to look into, you know, what that could mean. I mean, it is the reflection of the number he wears, right? Number 15, 51 and 15. But beyond that, you know, that's a big conspiracy number, right? It's also a big moon number for what it's worth, but so he died on a Monday, etc. But doing some quick alignments here, just take a look that, you know, he apparently died or reportedly died exactly 131 days before his next birthday. I have a screenshot of, actually, I didn't include it. You guys can look it up. September 19th is his birthday. He died reportedly 131 days before his birthday, where Grizzlies equals 131, just like human ritual sacrifice. I thought that was interesting in the reverse reduction cipher. But 131 days is also technically a span of 18 weeks and 5 days, which is, you know, 185 is a big basketball number. Thought that was interesting. And Rambo, you and I had a quick chat just about, you know, just the symbolism here. I mean, if you guys go to his Instagram page, you guys will see, I mean, just looking at his pose in his thumbnail, looks a lot like a skull and crossbones kind of thing. You know, the X is a big symbol for a lot of different reasons, which we don't necessarily need to dive into. But the other one I thought was funny was that, you know, not funny. It's not funny that he died, but he has 667 people that he was following before he passed. Shout out to KODI. He always talks about the rule of Kalel, where you can add or subtract a number to, you know, the ways that you're decoding things. And I understand that, you know, some people might think that it's a push and pull, you know, trying to reach for certain connections, but it is a thing, the rule of Kalel. When you apply that to the 667, you can get right back to the 666 in connection with the death of Brandon Clark. And lastly, just, you know, don't overlook the fact that he died at the age of 29, which I thought was interesting because the word Masonic equals 29 and 115, just like the reported date of his death, which was yesterday, May 11th, the date written 11/5. And perfect timing. Speaking of the rule, Kalel, we got KODI. Here he is. KODI, what's up, brother?
Hello.
KODI.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
Cool. Yeah, I was just talking about you, man, with the rule of Kalel. I don't know if you heard about this story, but just really quickly summarizing, Brandon Clark, Grizzlies forward, just died at the age of 29. The news broke today. 233 days remaining. His full name equals 233. But what I was really emphasizing here on this slide was notice that his Instagram, he has 667 accounts that he's following. So using that rule of Kalel, right, it could technically be 666, which I thought was interesting. And lastly, he died at the age of 29, and he died on the date written 11/5, just like the word Masonic. Not to mention words like numbers, alphabet, and Masonic all equal 29 as well. But we'll leave it there. KODI, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very tired because I've been traveling a lot this week. in Montenegro right now. But yeah, everything's good. I'd heard about this. Actually, the reason I stayed up a bit later than I wanted to initially was because of this story. I had heard about it right before I went to sleep, and probably should have just went to sleep instead of decoding it a bit. But I did notice that I did notice that he died. Well, I did notice the 233 when the news broke, but the 234 stands out because he died on, technically, I think May 11th was the day they said he died, right?
Yep.
And that was 234 days after his birthday, and then that day leaves 234 days in the year. And in the capitals mix cipher, where you use the capital letters, Brandon Clark equals 234. The original name of the team was the Vancouver Grizzlies, which equals 234. Now, this is in this is a, what I think this is kind of really pointing at is this eclipse over the pyramids again, because Memphis is an Egyptian city, and I believe they used to play in the pyramid, right? The Memphis, or I don't know if they used to play in the pyramid, but I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure that the Memphis pyramid is either connected to the Grizzlies or they used to play there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it does have an arena. It is an arena. Yes.
Isn't
Okay.
it like the Bass Pro Shops arena?
Yeah,
or
yeah, that's
something?
it. Yeah, Bass Pro. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so this 234, anyway, what I was getting at is that as soon as I saw this 234, I was like, okay, this might have something to do with, well, obviously Egypt and the pyramids, but also the Great Pyramid of Giza, the most famous pyramid. You type that in gematria, it equals 234. And also 234 days is 33 weeks and 3 days. And I had just talked about this 333 with the pyramid shooter and with David Wilcock, who died in connection to this pyramid stuff. So I think he died exactly 64 weeks before the eclipse over the pyramids.
Oh shit, Cody, really quick, hold on. Beer Ring 904. I'll have to pull this up. I'm not saying they're lying, but NBA player Jason Collins, who was the first openly gay player, died at age 47. Died today at age 47. As you're talking about David Wilcock, we talked about all the, phallic symbolism with that death, but
Well,
wow. Wow.
Brandon Clark is making an Osiris pose in his
Yeah.
That's Osiris. He's
Right here.
That's Osiris. So
Wow.
and think about it, the death and resurrection, phallus. Yeah, it's clearly Egyptian symbolism with Osiris. And that's literally what the when you see the picture of Osiris, that's literally the symbol he's making with his arms. So
Yeah. Wow.
And yeah, that's, I'm gonna have to look more into this and probably do a whole decode on this maybe, but yeah, that's all I have personally. I just noticed the 234 and the Egyptian pyramid symbol. That's all I got so far from.
No, those are amazing additions. I think it was perfect timing for you to jump in as we're talking about this story. It only broke a few hours ago, so for you to have that much information already is very impressive. I wanted to yield the opportunity for you to just introduce yourself. Anybody who might not be familiar with your work. Obviously you've given a great preview to the kind of stuff that you touch on, but Cody, please just let the viewers and the followers know where they can find you and support you, my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys and appreciate everything that you do, Rambo, and also AJ and all the people in the chat. Thanks for being here. And if you guys want to find me, of course, my main place would be on YouTube, Decoding with Kodi. And the support link, buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Kodi, is the way you can support me. And like I said, I appreciate everyone being here, and I look forward to talking a bit. I'm not sure how long I'll last on this stream. I'm for some reason I'm really tired again today, but I'm glad to be here as always, and really always look forward to this. So yeah.
We appreciate you, Codes, very much, as always. Thank you for the sacrifices that you make for this collab, man. It really means a lot. Rambo, I mean, with kind of what I had with this whole death of Brandon Clark, we got the 233. Kodi touched on the 234. Talked about the symbology here with his thumbnail on Instagram. Kodi, you might have missed this part, but I was just touching on the date duration of his death, or reported, like when the news broke, May 12th. These date durations are the same if you add or subtract the date. 131 days like Grizzlies, just like human ritual sacrifice. It's also a span of 18 weeks and 5 days like basketball, 185. But yeah, Rambo, please. Would love to hear your 2 cents on what Kodi had to share.
So he shared a lot of what I was going to say, especially based on the X symbol that he was doing with his arms. I wasn't going to make the skull and bones connection, but the Osiris connection and how it ties into the eclipse. So there were 2 great eclipses in the United States, the great American eclipse. They're two most recent major eclipses. The paths of those 2 eclipses form an X, and that's actually what I was thinking of. And I was thinking of how that ties into the next eclipse, which will not be in the United States, but I showed last week. And to me, the most mind-blowing part of that eclipse, it looks like something that was orchestrated by humans, but it can't be. It's nature. The biggest part of that eclipse for me, and I have some decodes coming up on that one, and the eclipse, its total solar eclipse, will be August 2nd, 2027, is the fact that it goes on target, right in between the twin pillars, not just any twin pillars, the pillars of Hercules, which are the Strait of Gibraltar. The northern pillar is in Spain, Gibraltar, and the southern pillar is in North Africa, Morocco. And the path of that eclipse goes smack dab in between. It's as if somebody pointed a target, actually aimed and pointed a target at that. If this wasn't something in nature, I would assume that it's orchestrated by those who, have influence in this world, and they have technology to do things. But this isn't technology doesn't explain this one. This is a mind-blowing thing for me. It goes right between the twin pillars, but those are not just any twin pillars. Those are the twin pillars on the flag of Spain, acknowledged as the Pillar of Hercules. And Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago, it's a mansion with a southern Spanish architecture, which is Andalusian architecture. That's what Mar-a-Lago is based on. And he has those twin pillars in some of the tile work at Mar-a-Lago. And those are the same twin pillars, because there's a sash going between the twin pillars that says plus ultra, meaning more beyond. And that's what Trump has at Mar-a-Lago. It's plus ultra and the twin pillars. Those are not generic twin pillars. Those are specific twin pillars. The pillars of Hercules at the Strait of Gibraltar, they're on Mar-a-Lago. They're on the flag of Spain. And that solar eclipse is going right in the middle of them. And then from there, the path of the eclipse will make a slight right turn and then go over the Great Pyramid Complex of Giza. I mean, that's like 2 major locations. It doesn't stop there. After it goes to Giza, it'll continue down in a southeastern direction, and it will go over Mecca, the Kaaba, the Cube, the holy city of Mecca. You can't make that up. That is a major, I cannot even imagine anyone involved in ritual magic. It could be positive. You could still be trying to influence the world in a positive way. If you're into positive magic, either way, I can't even fathom the level of power that eclipse has. Like, you can't make it up. That path is unbelievable. But so that X is the pattern of the last two major total solar eclipses in the United States. They form an X. I actually have a graphic of that. I'm going to talk about some other stuff, but I did put up the graphic of the paths of the two American solar eclipses. They form an X, and they form it. So one of the eclipses actually went over Little Egypt in Illinois. I don't know. Illinois is the center of everything, it seems like.
Can I add one thing to that, Rambo? Just before it gets lost away from me. It makes me think of Derrick Rose. We've talked about Derrick Rose, the Rosicrucians, the Rose Cross. Derrick Rose had his jersey retired at the beginning of this year. We had the death of Catherine O'Hara, right? You have O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Derrick Rose is Mr. Illinois, right? He played for Memphis.
Oh, wow.
He played for the Memphis Grizzlies. He went to Memphis. He took them to the college basketball championship. You know, we had the death of Officer D. Rose last year. Shout out Myron, he got game. Talking about that last year, that happened right out front of the CDC. So I just wanted to throw that in there really quick, like Rose Cross, Rosicrucians, the X, you know. So there could be, I'm sure there's plenty more there. I just want to throw that in there.
No, that's
also,
okay. Go ahead.
No, sorry, Rambo. Just quickly, something that Rambo's going back to the skull and bones real fast. Something that Rambo's Derek has talked about a lot is in the Latin cipher. Skull and bones equals Egypt. I have it up here real fast. I can just pop it up so people can see, but this is kind of like connects these two topics that we were just, you know, kind of talking about. And, you know, yeah, you guys can see right here. It's just a perfect match in the Latin cipher. So kind of brings more emphasis onto maybe how the skull and bones gets their symbolism from Egypt with the X's and Osiris. But yeah, I just wanted to share that because Rambo had just talked about, or we just talked about skull and bones as well. So, and it is 64 weeks before the eclipse that he died. That's of course kill. So, and that 64 is, you see that very often in a lot of different things.
Yeah, I was also seeing a lot of Jesus symbolism. I mean, think about the cross, right? Jesus died on the cross. Well, Jesus Christ equals 151. But if you start typing in words like Messiah, you got that 131. As I was doing some quick decodes, I was like, wow, there's a lot of Jesus symbolism going on here too, which makes sense. But yeah.
It makes sense because it's also death and resurrection symbolism as well.
Yep. But yeah, sorry, Rambo, go ahead. I didn't mean to take you off your flow. I just wanted to throw in the Derrick Rose connection. I think that's fitting with what's been happening to start the year.
No, it's a great connection because he connects Memphis to Illinois.
Right.
And the path of the two great American eclipses, total solar eclipses, form an X over Illinois, one of the paths went over Little Egypt. Little Egypt is in Illinois. So yeah, Derrick Rose ties in to Memphis. I didn't even know he went to Memphis. That's a perfect connection. It connects Memphis to Illinois and Chicago through Derrick Rose. Also, Memphis is in the news right now because Tennessee agreed to redistrict. And across the United States, most urban areas are predominantly Democrat. What they did is they changed the congressional districts in Tennessee. So they broke up the Memphis area, which it's highly Democratic, small, big D Democratic, meaning belonging to the political party. So what they did is they broke up Tennessee so that portions of Tennessee are part of the same district as a predominantly suburban Republican district. So now there are no more predominantly Democrat districts, which means Tennessee will now become a one-party state, a Republican state. And now they're starting to do that all over the South. Now Alabama's starting to do that, but Memphis is now in the news for the redistricting that they just did. It pretty much eliminates a two-party system, essentially. There's no way a Democrat can win the way it stands. They can't, because all their districts, what you do is, so the districts don't even make sense. You know, that's how it is. Congressional districts, they can be any kind of shape. So you'll just take a portion of, just say, a predominantly a Democrat area, which is what they do, which is mostly in the cities. You take a portion of them, just break them up, and put them in, lump them in with another portion of Tennessee, which is overwhelmingly Republican. Now, once that becomes a district, the Republicans will always win. And there is no longer any district which is made up of predominantly Democrat voters. And that's why Memphis is in the news right now. So they want to see if this starts a snowball effect, because Alabama's starting to do it now. They're proposing it. So yeah, that's a major. So it's interesting that this happens while Memphis is in the news for politics. Outside of sports is politics, yeah.
Absolutely. Obviously, you know, was there anything else, KODI or Rambo, you guys want to talk about with this story? Because obviously this is very, very new. I mean, he died yesterday, but yeah, KODI, what do you got?
I just figured out what this 234, 233 is about. It's look at how many days so as I pointed out, and as you pointed out, 233, 234 is both numbers that his name carries.
Yeah, wow.
But look at this. From the X eclipse, the second eclipse over the United States, look how many.
Oh,
it's
wow.
2 years, 34 days, or 2 years, 33 days if you don't add the date. So it's both.
It's crazy to think that it's been that long since that eclipse.
I mean, but yeah, that's. Wow. But isn't that just like, that's just, when you get stuff like that and when you're decoding, like there's your confirmation. There's your, I was just talking about these two numbers, or you were talking about 233. I was talking about 234, but yeah, I mean, that's just perfect. And that eclipse, as Rambo mentioned, was over Little Egypt. Makes me, I mean, I'm sure Derek's going to do a decode on this because it's definitely eclipse symbolism all over this. And I'm just wondering what else there is with Donald. Whenever I see the word Brandon, I always think of Donald. But yeah, there's got to be more to it than even this. But this is like one of probably the main parts of it. And yeah, I'll have to look more into the connection with the next eclipse over Egypt, but it's definitely even more connected to the one over the America. Also, the Elvis connection is interesting too. As always, when you're talking about Memphis, there really is an Elvis connection there. I'm wondering how that connects to Elvis and Memphis, and just in general. I think Vancouver, you know, being interesting as well, as his initials are BC, and Vancouver was the original team was in BC, British Columbia.
That goes back to like the Christ thing, right? Before Christ, after, you know,
right? That's what I was going to say. Yeah, and then that might connect to British Columbia, back to King Charles again. King Charles does equal 234, this big number. I believe King Charles III, or is it just Charles III? I think it's Charles III, yeah. So Charles III equals 234. It's a number I always associated with him. And of course, he's the king right now. When you think about Memphis, you think about Elvis the King. You think about the King's Chamber in the pyramid. Very important part of the. Another interesting part of this too is the Isis. I think she is also known as. I had this up here before, but 234 is the gematria of Lady of Heaven. Actually, this might connect back to Sirius as well, because Sirius is getting ready to disappear, as Rambo always talks about. I think it's on May 14th or 13th. I think it's getting ready to disappear for 70 days. I have to check the date again, but because I think it's around that time. And Sirius is often conflated with Isis and of course Osiris. So that there's something there too. And the bear, the grizzlies, might connect back to the Ursa Major again, because funny enough, the video I just did today, before I even knew about this, I was talking. I had found something that's in the news today on CNN's front page today. They had a ship that sunk nearly 2 years ago, and just randomly, they're talking about a ship that sunk 2 years ago with nuclear reactors on it, a submarine, and it was called the Ursa Major. So they were literally, their front page story today was about a ship called Ursa Major, and then this guy dies, and he was a bear. He was on the bear team. So there's something going on with that as well. I mean, I think Rambo might be able to expand more on the Ursa Major bear stuff, but
yeah, it is the only team he played for, by the way, you guys. Like he didn't bounce around. He's been a Grizzly his entire NBA career.
See, but that's another Memphis-Chicago connection. You have Chicago Bears.
Yep, Memphis, there you go.
So Memphis,
Chicago Cubbies.
Yeah, so the Illinois Memphis connection is there again. With through the bear again. Derrick Rose, but here's another one with the bear symbol.
You know what's funny too is Derrick Rose. He wears number 1.
Yeah,
I don't know if he wore number 1 for the Grizzlies. Maybe somebody in the chat can verify that for me. But I mean, think about that 1 and 15, 115. He died on the date written 1/1/5. I mean, that's another numerical connection right there.
Yep,
the 115. You know,
and 511. Yeah, 511 is a Saturn number in gematria. Like if you type in Saturn equals 511. So
BPM always with the gems. Wrigley Field with the Cubs. It is off of Clark and Addison. BPM. Yep.
Oh wow.
Wrigley Field is off of Clark and Addison.
Clark Kent, something with Superman probably.
Oh, there you go. But the Clark, Brandon Clark, right? So,
yeah.
And all these have Charlie Kirk connection. You know about the Superman. He has a Superman neck. And then the accused killer, Tyler Robinson, he's photographed next to a Superman poster. Clark Kent, CK, and who's a big Bear fan. Charlie Kirk, CK. So yeah, Charlie Kirk kind of ties into some of the same elements we're pointing out here.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too, because you talked about also the Bear connection with him and all that stuff. So the first thing I did think when I saw this guy's death, I didn't even know this player, to be honest. I had never heard of him, but I mean, I thought Superman about it. So Superman was like the first thing I thought of, because I just got done decoding this series Smallville, because I just got done talking. I think I talked about that last week briefly on the stream.
Yep.
And so something with this Clark name, and I just told you that Saturn equals 511. He died on 511. Well, Saturn is L, connected with L, and then he played in Memphis where Elvis died. So that's what I'm thinking. This all kind of, and then again, Charlie Kirk is another big part of it.
There's also a lot of heavy king symbolism here. So a major ritual is the killing of the king. I talked about last week, I went over the killing of the king. That's a major ritual in different cultures. Very importantly, in the Mesopotamian, in Babylonia, Mesopotamia, Sumeria, that area, it was a big thing. The heavy king symbol. You talk about Elvis, who's called the king from Memphis. I've talked about, I did a video of when I had my YouTube channel on Memphis and the king symbolism there. Memphis is, it's disputed, but for the most part, Memphis kind of gets the title of the home of the blues. Some people from Mississippi, so it said it started in Mississippi, but I guess, I don't know. Memphis kind of does get, for the most part, that's, Tennessee is considered the home of the blues, and Memphis is associated with the blues. And who's the king? Another king of the blues is B.B. King. In fact, there are 3 blues kings. There are 3 kings. So B.B. King is considered the king of the blues, but there are 3 kings of legendary blues guitarists. I think 2 of them have Memphis connections. I think B.B. King lived in Memphis. It's Albert King, and there's B.B. King, Albert King, after who the other one is. But there are 3 blues guitarists with the last name King. They're called the 3 Kings.
I got another one for you, Rambo. Another king, just to jot it down with the Kings in Memphis.
Yeah.
Memphis, the college team.
Yeah.
They're the Tigers. Reminds me of Tiger King. Remember how Tiger King was a huge thing back during back in 2020?
Yeah.
That was a big thing, Tiger King. So
yeah. And the Tiger King is King Charles, because he became king in the year of the tiger. That was a big.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A big part of the ritual with him, and the Walking Dead, which came out years before he died. I've mentioned before that in that show, the king in that show, King Ezekiel, has a tiger. So even years before that, they were paying tribute to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad I had time to look up the other. So the 3 kings of the blues, blues guitarists, are Freddie King, Albert King, and B.B. King. B.B. King is considered the king of the blues, and he lived in Memphis. He wasn't born in Memphis, but he lived in Memphis. It was king symbolism. Elvis associated with Memphis. He's the king. Where did you literally have the killing of the king? When you the literal killing of the king? It was Martin Luther King. That's his name, King. He literally killed. Where was he killed? Memphis. Osiris is a god, but also a king. Osiris is both a god and a king. A lot of those ancient deities are considered physical, flesh and blood kings and deities. So Osiris is a king in that respect. With KODI's connections to King Charles. So what you're seeing is a lot. And another connection is the location. We talk about how Charlie Kirk is connected. The location of Charlie Kirk's killing, which I've pointed out over and over, and Ani pointed out too as well. From an aerial view, you see it looks like the icon of a home. That's the shape of the area where he was killed on the campus of Utah Valley University. There's a constellation that has that shape, the home plate shape, that home icon shape. It's called Cepheus, the King constellation in the north, which is right next to the little bear, the cub, which is right next to the big bear, Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. And I pointed out with Ursa Minor, the tail of the little bear, that's the point around which it's the pole stars there, the point around which the northern stars rotate counterclockwise, which is why Charlie Kirk's organization was called Turning Point. It's a reference to Polaris on the tail of the cub, which is why he was a Cub fan. But Charlie Kirk, Cepheus the King, CK, that's why he was killed in that location, which had that home plate shape, because that's the shape of the Cepheus the King constellation. It's shaped like the home plate.
I'm going to throw in one side thing to the bear and the king and the house symbolism. Rambo, I'm not sure, or KODI. I think there's a stronger chance KODI might know what I'm talking about. I never watched it as a kid, but I know of the show. Bear in the Big Blue House. Did you guys ever hear about this? For me, that like it just rang to me the moment Rambo started talking about, you know, the house and the bear symbolism. Big Blue, who just won the college basketball tournament. Big Blue, go Blue, Michigan, right? They're not the Bears, obviously, but yeah, that this was a very popular kids show back in the day called Bear in the Big Blue House. And you know, I mean, the Cubs mainly blue, etc. But anyways, yeah, I had to throw that in there really quick.
Yeah, that's a great example. But that is it's a reference to the constellations. That's a reference to Ursa Major, which has right next to it Ursa Minor, and then right next to it Cepheus the King, which is shaped like the house. So this is a direct symbol of astronomy, the constellations.
Even looks like the Cubby Bear right there. Yeah, Cody, were you going to say something? You remember this show, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I remember this show. That's all I was going to say. I didn't really watch it a lot, but I do remember it.
Yeah, I didn't either. It just, once again, it just sparked a memory, and I thought it was fitting. So there's obviously something there. But yeah, I mean, plenty else to talk about. Wow, I honestly, I did not think that we would have been 45 minutes in just talking about this latest death, but it's just mind-blowing. Wall says, Rambo knows some deep secrets, always blows my mind.
Thanks.
Yeah, no, good stuff. I mean, you know, the other one, obviously, the talk of the town these days is the hantavirus, right? With what's going on. And shout out to you, Cody. I know you've already done some work on that on your YouTube channel. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing, but I mean, amazing stuff as always. All I wanted to share, and you know, once again, this is my childlike, you know, angle on it. Remember when we talked about T-, how like NASA is one letter off or one letter removed from Satan? You know, just put the letter T in there. You got NASA with Satan, right? T-. It made me think of, if you take the T out of hantavirus, you got hanavirus, which reminds me of Lilo and Stitch, which I think most people are familiar with. But it was, I don't know, it was just kind of fitting. Like, you know, Stitch is kind of a rodent, so to speak. Apparently, the hantavirus stems from rodents. You know, this isn't newly discovered. The hantavirus has been around for quite some time, but it just, I don't know. I thought it was fitting with, you know, T-. We just had the moon launch, or, you know, the rocket going off to the moon, so to speak. The rocket looking a lot like you know what, when it comes to viruses. And you know, the main line of the movie is Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. So who knows what they have in store for us moving forward. But that's all I wanted to share when it comes to this particular topic. But I know that both of you guys got plenty other things to share.
Yeah, I do have some things.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cordy wants to add something to what you just said, or...
No, not really. I mean, I just I did cover this on my channel, and I connected it to. Well, I just talked a lot about the Argentina Pope Leo reference, Pope Leo and Pope Francis. I mean, it's really clear that these two are one of the main themes of the origin of this. The Argentina, the guy's name was Leo, who caught it. He was at the bottom of the world when he caught it. So I was talking about the bottomless pit. They've been talking about Apollyon so much. And just another connection to Apollyon. Also with the angel of the bottomless pit. I kind of called it the virus of the bottomless pit because I think that's kind of, the ship was ascending the globe, it even visited a place named Ascension Island as it was ascending. So it was ascending from the bottomless pit, and that was at the same time, of course, that the Artemis. It was literally the same day. Like, it's just funny because when you go back and like all last month, I was talking about Artemis launch, and I was talking about Apollyon, but I had no idea, of course, that this ship was also and the same days, basically launched on the same day as Artemis. Artemis returned on the same day that the first guy died. So it's so clear that it was paralleled, and it's just funny how you don't sometimes know what's going on behind the scenes until like a month later, and then you're like, oh, this is what this was about. So,
Cody, it makes me think about Leo DiCaprio, Titanic.
Yeah.
The ship sinking to the bottomless pit, right? And then shout out Rambo. You know, Rambo's tied in Leo DiCaprio with the it wasn't Aviator. What was the movie he was in with all the aviation stuff?
It was The Aviator. Yeah, he played the role of Howard Hughes.
Yes,
yes. Aviator, who's connected to Jack Hughes, who's connected to the aviation theme. He's connected to Jack Parsons because Jack Parsons actually worked for Howard Hughes at one point. And Leo DiCaprio played Howard Hughes in the movie The Aviator. Also, shout out one of my patrons, Kiwi. He pointed out that in the Titanic, Leo DiCaprio played a character named Jack.
And who is his love interest? What did we just talk about with the last story? Rose.
Oh, okay.
I mean, come on. Like as if I had that all planned up all along to have that, cross like an eclipse. Oh my God, I just thought about that. I was like, oh wow, that's right. Rose.
Yeah,
Rose,
so yeah, Jack and Hughes. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of H's to Howard Hughes, and yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Hantavirus, the name of the ship. Starts with an H. A lot of H's. I'm seeing you talking about Hannah and
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I'm just seeing a lot of H's. This is an observation. I can't say what it ties into, but wow, I'm seeing a lot of H's connected to what's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I do have some.
Yeah. Let me pass it off to you, Rambo.
Oops, all right. All right, so just real quick, just as a graphic, just so you see what I mean about the constellation that looks like a house. It's called Cepheus the King. Here they say Cepheus. That's the short form, but it's Cepheus the King, not King Cepheus. Cepheus the King, CK. And this is actually the shape of the location where Charlie Kirk was shot. Ursa Minor. It's also called the Little Dipper. It has two names. The same constellation has two names. It's either the Little Bear, which is the cub, or the Little Dipper, because it looks like a panhandle, something you dip water with. So the Little Dipper is the same constellation as the Little Bear, the cub, Ursa Minor. So they're the same. So you'll see them referred to as different things. It can also, when this is the Big Dipper, again, it looks like, it's like a handle, something that you dip into the water. The Big Dipper is also Ursa Major, which is the Big Bear, but you see their proximity. So when you talk about the bear, which is Ursa means bear in Latin, in the big blue house, you see the bear and the house. So just given
that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's about and these are the teams that Charlie Kirk is shot at a location which has this shape. He's a Cubs fan, which is the Little Bear, and he's a Bears fan. And the tail of the Little Bear, which is Polaris right here, the star at the tail, which is Polaris, that's the point around which the stars all rotate in a counterclockwise motion. And I'll talk about the rotation symbol.
The turning point.
Yeah, this is the turning point. Yeah, that's what. And actually, and if you go further up, right above Cepheus, it's not in this graphic, but right above Cepheus is Cygnus. Now, Cygnus is a swan. A swan is from the same family as a duck. Duck, swan, and goose are all part of the same family. So Cygnus, which is the swan, which is just above Cepheus, part of the duck family, and Charlie Kirk was a fan of NCAA football team, the Oregon Ducks. So him being a fan of the Ducks is actually an indication of Cygnus, because a swan is part of the duck family. And Cygnus is right here. So he's an Oregon fan, which is Cygnus. He gets shot at a location that's shaped like this, and he's a Cub fan, and he's a Bear fan. And this, the tale of the little bear, is literally the turning point. So that's the coding of Charlie Kirk. And then you brought up this Disney, I guess, children's program, which is also based on these constellations as well. And there are others which are located. Draco is nearby as well, the dragon, the reptilian. Yeah, so just to clarify that, so people can see that, and just what the paths of the two eclipses. This was on August 21st, 2017. This one on April 8th, 2024. This is the path of the April 8th eclipse. This is part of the August 21st eclipse. At the point at which they intersect is in Illinois. It's actually Carbondale, Illinois, which carbon is related to carbon-12, which is an element which is in most matter. So it's a reference to the world of matter, the material world, which is the matrix. Then they use these things, I guess, the energy from eclipses on a magical level, on a non-physical level. They use that to, you could say, quote unquote, manipulate the matrix. That's what magic does, is you're bending you're trying to impose your will on the world. That's actually what magic is. And if you're positive, you want good things. And if you're not positive, I don't know what goes through their minds. I can't say if they think that what they're doing is positive. I can't even speak for them. But this point here where they intersect is Carbondale, Illinois. And the August 21st one, it went over Little Egypt, Illinois. But the intersection, the point of intersection is Carbondale. And carbon is a direct reference to matter, the world of matter, which is made up predominantly of carbon-12. And carbon-12 is made up of, even though you don't know anything about chemistry, I don't know anything about chemistry, but I do know that carbon-12 is made up of 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. That's the 666 particle. That's why 666 is associated with the world of matter, the material world. It's the opposite of spirit. It's the finite world. It's the world of ego. This is where the ego reigns. Unlike the spirit world. That's why it's associated with evil and the devil. It's ego. The devil is ego, basically. So when he's doing that X, that Memphis player, this is the first thing I thought of how it ties into the eclipses. So just a visual on that. So this is so there is somebody who's receiving his 15 minutes of fame over the hantavirus. He's the highest profile, I guess, person who's contacted. He's in quarantine.
He's the only person I've seen that apparently is on the ship that like this is like the only video I've seen of somebody that's actually a part of this story. And I just a sidebar, I thought it was funny. People are like, wait a minute, in the world we live in right now, what, 150 people on this boat, not one person is pulling out their phone and doing a live stream. Not one video besides this one. Right. So I just want to say that. Think about that, you guys. Chew on that one.
This is another thing. They, quote unquote, they control what goes viral. There are millions of people across the world who have dreamed of going viral because maybe they came up with some legitimately mind-blowing stuff and said, yeah, I'm going to go viral. Not realizing that they control what goes viral. They control it. They control the algorithm, what gets promoted. In fact, it just snowballs. Once something hits like a major network or a major number of views, that just snowballs and people share it more. That can be controlled, and it is controlled. People were uploading. You think he is not the only one? Yes, other people did, but they control what goes viral.
Great
so
point.
He's not just anybody. Absolutely, some people have done it. So he's somebody to be focused on because they're telling you, no, they've chosen him, telling you, pay attention to this man. And he's not just anybody. So who is Jake Rosmarin? When I saw the name Rosmarin, to me it sounds like Rosemary.
There's our Rose again.
There he is again. Yeah. You mentioned it with the Titanic, Rose. Think of how this ties in. It's on a cruise ship. Rose.
Jack and Rose.
Jack and Rose. Yeah, I didn't even realize. Okay, that's really,
Here we go.
Yeah,
Here we go.
I didn't even.
I'm writing Jake Rosemarin, Jack and Rose. Shit.
Oh, yeah, okay. I get it now.
Wow. Okay. There we go. Yep.
So their famous scene from the Titanic is "I'm flying." Think of how that ties into Jack Hughes and Howard Hughes. It's about flying. Jack Parsons, Howard Hughes. So the scene I'm talking about in the Titanic movie is where Rose has her arms out there right at the front of the ship, right at the front. And the ship is going and they feel like they're flying, and Jack is behind her, embracing her. She has her arms out. That scene is called "I'm Flying." Ties right into Howard Hughes and the whole. I've been talking about the aviation theme, but yeah, you made the connection here with Jake Rose and the cruise ship and Titanic. Okay, so again, he's not just anybody. And so people are starting to look into him. I mean, now. So it says, who is Jake Rosemarin? And the thing that jumped out with me was the Rosemarin and Rosemary, Marine. We know what that's about. And so I'll show you his video, which has gone viral. And you remember Erica Kirk. So a lot of people are saying, here we go. This is Erica Kirk 2.0. Anyway, here's his video.
I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down. I am currently on board the MV Hondius, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, just remember that there are real people behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away. It's happening to us right now. I'll share more when I can, but for now, I just ask for your kindness and understanding.
Rambo, really quick, I just want to shout out YouTuber for pointing out he's doing the green chakra thing again, right? He even has his arms crossed, right? Going back to the rose cross, but green is the heart chakra, right? We've talked about that. The ducks wear green. The Oregon Ducks wear green. They have the whole video called "I Love My Ducks." Going back to the Titanic, what is like the linchpin of the whole movie? It is the heart. It is that heart diamond necklace that Rose throws off the end of the ship. So once again, going back to the love themes, can't get away from it. It's always there. But yeah,
he is appealing to human emotion and empathy. And when you have the skull and crossbones, that's actually what's being left out of the Trinity. The Trinity is skull, crossbones, heart.
Yep.
And heart is the emotion. The skull is thought. The crossbones are actually femur bones, which are action. It doesn't matter. It could be any bones, but because your arms are action as well. And so it's thought, action, and then the heart is emotion, and there's no heart. They've removed the heart. It's supposed to be a Trinity. So what he's appealing to here is the heart, but so
he's doing a terrible job. By the way, that was just a piss poor performance.
Yeah, I said a lot of people are calling it Erica Kirk 2.0, but with Erica Kirk, I think she was trying to look fake. I don't think she was trying to look convincing. Whereas I think he's trying to look convincing, but I don't think she was. I think people are saying, "Oh, what a horrible acting job Erica Kirk did." I think she did a great acting job because she wants to look like somebody who can't act. It was that was pretty deliberate, I think. I don't know.
I just want to re-emphasize really quick, Rambo. Think about that. He's wearing a green shirt for a reason. His name is Jake Rosemarin, Jack and Rose. In the movie Titanic, we're talking about a ship story here. The rose necklace is thrown off of the ship, going down to the bottomless pit. You know what I mean? Back to you know, the stuff that KODI's been talking about. The heart, the love themes, you know.
Yeah, so what they're doing here is they're doing a simulation of emotions. I've talked about how AI and the lower dimension, there are realms lower than 3D and entities from there. This is even in science, and some people have reported that this is people with credentials. Science and magic are the same thing. Science and spirituality actually do make, they're not separate. There are reports that, at least in the United States, they say CERN is doing it, but some people have reported that using science, they've actually brought entities up from a lower dimension than 3D and brought them into 3D and actually have seen it, a pop. And I didn't get it. I didn't hear, they didn't describe, from what I saw, they didn't describe what it looked like. An entity from the lower dimensions was brought into 3D. So lower dimensions, that's the realm where demons are from. This is the thing about AI. AI is skull and crossbones. It has thought. It has action, because they're going to put AI and robots that have already done it. We don't know how advanced they are because they don't really show you how advanced they are. I'm pretty sure the very advanced robots have been out there for a while. So AI has action and has thought.
Rambo, really quick. I promise. One line here. I'm comment because this isn't my finding. Somebody put it in here. Have you ever heard the phrase, I cross my heart and hope to die?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Stick a needle in my eye. Cross your heart, right? Why are you crossing your heart? Like to swear on something? It's all, this is the perfect little pot that we're cooking here, because the cross, the rose cross, love themes, you give a rose in, you know, as a sign of love, cross your heart, rose, Jack. Anyways, I just want to throw that cross, you know, cross your heart kind of theme that everybody knows about too.
Yeah, so that's a song, right? Cross my heart and hope that I stick a needle in my. That's a popular song, right? The stick a needle in my eye part thing.
Yeah, well, what's that about?
Yeah, but this is about the sticking the needle. This is about that. So, but what he's doing here is what AI does. So technology, so emotions have vibrations. They even have thoughts have vibrations. They even have computer technology. They have it that can read minds. Literally, that's because thoughts have vibrations. They've always said that. People say, "Oh, it's new agey and stuff." Like, "Oh, your thoughts have vibrations." That sounds, well, science has proven it. They have what's called BCI, brain computer interface, also called BMI, brain machine interface, which is computers reading the vibrations of thoughts, because every thought has a vibration. Science has proven this. They can take a word, a positive word, love, and they will write the word, and then it's called cymatics. You look up the field of cymatics. It shows you how words have vibrations. Even if you write the word love, and water will freeze. I guess you put it in some water and freeze the water, and then you'll put hate. And then the pattern you'll get, like a snowflakes type pattern when you analyze the ice. With love, it looks like a beautiful snowflake pattern. And with love, it looks like a glob. It's an ugly glob, you know, not much of a pattern at all. And so science has proven, yes, words, sentiments, feelings have vibrations, and computers can pick up on them and interpret them. In some cases, they say, this is yet to be confirmed. Now, BCI is confirmed. They can pick up on your thoughts. And that's, you can actually translate. That's how you would translate, just say, hypothetically, there's an extraterrestrial. That's how they would communicate, just through vibrations. And they would say, so an advanced species, which is intelligent, could communicate with any species. So if they were to come here, that's how they would communicate with humans, because you can communicate with anyone just as long as you can interpret vibrations. And they have it now, BCI. They even say that this has not been confirmed. Who knows? I mean, technology is scary. That thoughts not only can be interpreted, which makes sense that this is possible, by a computer, the computer can then make a video of the thoughts. So your thoughts can be displayed on a video monitor. Be careful what you think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the end of freedom at that point. Like your thoughts aren't even safe. Like anyway, so he's doing what I talked about AI does and lower dimensional entities do, which is one thing about them is they cannot create. They don't have what humans do. That's why the heart symbol is so, you could say it's so precious, not to diminish the action, or you could call it the sacred masculine elements, because action is male and nothing succeeds without action. All the thoughts in the world are great, but ultimately, to get anything done, to even just help the world, help humanity, help yourself, you need action. It cannot be done without action. So that's not to diminish the importance of the sacred masculine principle of action.
That's why I was bringing up like the cross my heart, right? Because you keep emphasizing thought, action, emotion, and it's the heart that is crossed out, right? In Skull and Crossbones, for example. You know what I mean? It's the heart. Yeah. It's the heart that's being X'd out. I cross my heart and hope to die. It just makes me now think of just Skull and Crossbones.
When I think of that sentiment, cross my heart and then hope to die. So hope to die, what that is destruction of the sacred masculine. So sacred masculine is, again, these are metaphors, not literal. But the sacred masculine is action, it's self-esteem. It's a healthy ego. You need some ego. Some is needed, necessary. You're obligated to take care of yourself. When you say I hope to die, you've given up a will to live. That's destruction of the sacred masculine. So that comment actually, you're pretty much, you've pretty much destroyed action, because you don't action. What is action? You have to be alive to take action. Action is being alive. So right. So if you hope to die,
Well, I'm just saying, because you continue to emphasize, it's without emotion, and emotion is like the heart, right? So the cross my heart, that's where I can align it to everything you've talked about. But there's more to that phrase. And hope to die. That's where there's a separate sentiment to that. So
it's not to diminish the sacred masculine. What you need is balance. The thing about the sacred feminine, metaphorically, the heart, is that is the one thing that AI and lower dimensional entities cannot duplicate. They can't. Is emotion. That's the most human in fact, the most powerful vibration in existence in the universe, which wasn't created, it always existed, is unconditional love. It is literally the most powerful vibration in existence. Nothing's more powerful than it is. So what he's doing is what AI does. AI does a really good job of simulating. So with the whole matrix theory, we're in a simulation. It's a computer simulation. So you're simulating something that is authentic. From the demon realm and the lower dimensional realm, they cannot create. They can only imitate, plagiarize, and simulate. So that's why the matrix is an inauthentic world. AI has thought, AI has action. AI can imitate emotion, but it doesn't really have it. You really think that if there's a scientist who works on an AI project and develops AI for several years, and then that scientist dies, you really think for 1 second that AI will feel any grief whatsoever? Now, it'll imitate. It can imitate, and it can pick up on vibrations, so it can say the things, because AI can understand, oh, this is what humans do. Oh, I miss Dr. Whoever. And they'll say, oh, today's the anniversary of the passing of Dr. Whoever, and then give condolences to Dr. Whoever's family and friends. It's imitating. It doesn't actually feel the grief. It doesn't. AI does not feel grief. Like, AI will not develop personality disorders. Or if AI witnesses humans being traumatized in some way, AI will never experience post-traumatic stress disorder. It can imitate humans. Oh, that's so tragic. That's a horror. Yeah, but you don't feel it. You're imitating how humans act. So that's what the heart is. It's something that only humans have. cannot be duplicated by lower dimensional entities or by AI. So what he's doing is imitating emotion, in my opinion. I mean, you can decide. It's my opinion. It's my guess. I don't think he's really I'm pretty sure he's not really feeling emotion. I'm not saying he's not human, but he doesn't feel the emotion, because this is to play on. So this is the way like AI or some machine agenda. So the Matrix was machine versus man. What you do from their perspective, they see emotion as the weakness that humans have, and they're going after what in their mind is humans' weaknesses. Their biggest weakness, which is emotion. Let's play on their emotions. We want to enslave them and do the whole lockdown thing, restrict their movement, enslave them, and remove their sovereignty, their ability to exercise free will. How do we do that? By going after their emotions. So what's their emotions of this weak species? Is their weakness is their emotion. So let's go after their emotion. To me, these look like crocodile tears. So that's what he's doing. He's wearing the green, but that's to imitate. This is not imitate what that stands for, which is emotion.
And really quick, hey, I just want to do a quick check-in on KODI, just with everything we talked about. KODI, was there anything else you want to add in? I got to step out for like 30 seconds. I will be right back. Otherwise, Rambo, keep doing your thing. I'll be right back.
No, I Rambo can keep going. I was just listening to everything and taking it in.
All right, thanks. So let's play the rest of it again, just the end part, just to. Yeah, I'll just play it again. I'll play it again real quick, just to.
I normally wouldn't make a video like this, but I feel like I need to say something, so I wrote a few things down. I am currently on board the MV Hondius, and what's happening right now is very real for all of us here. We're not just a story. We're not just headlines. We're people. People with families, with lives, with people waiting for us at home. All we want right now is to feel safe, to have clarity, and to get home. So if you're seeing coverage about this, just remember that there are real people behind it, and that this isn't something happening somewhere far away. It's happening to us right now. I'll share more when I can, but for now, I just ask for your kindness and understanding.
So another thing that he stressed was home. I want to get home. People want to get home. And we were just talking about home in reference to this. Home. And he's being compared to Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk at the White House press correspondence dinner shooting, she was there and they were escorting her out. And again, people thought, again, this looks like her crocodile tears again. Who knows? But what she was saying, I just want to go home. They're stressing. So home is a major theme that they're stressing. And he just did it. He mentioned home twice. He emphasized home. I want to get home. That's what Erica Kirk just said.
We talked about that last week, right, Rambo, with the whole Wizard of Oz connections. It was Oz Perlman or Oz Perlman that was performing. Yeah.
And then No Place Like Home from the Wizard of Oz. Erica Kirk was at that shooting. Says, I just want to go home. He's now here. His name again, Jake Rossmarin, stresses home. And I think it has a lot to do with this. Cepheus, the King constellation. But so of course, what happens now? In a way, this is a good thing, because I'm noticing more than ever, when major stories happen, mainstream media immediately will push back on quote unquote conspiracy theories. They do it immediately. In a way, that is positive, because they understand it is an indication of how people are becoming more skeptical. There's nothing wrong with being skeptical. Doesn't mean everything's a lie. But if somebody makes any kind of major statement, especially coming from a powerful source, you should double check it, and you should make sure that's not being a conspiracy theory. And sometimes, if you have nothing to hide, you should welcome analysis, because all the analysis and skepticism will do is confirm that you're telling the truth. Like, you shouldn't be afraid of people looking into things and double checking things, or even doubting your story. If you're being authentic, then there's nothing to worry about, because they'll look at the facts and it'll confirm that you're telling the truth. So what are they doing now? It is an indication of the fact that people are becoming more skeptical to mainstream narratives, because they immediately go into debunking quote unquote conspiracy theories. They do it immediately. I've never seen anything like it, but there's a positive side to that, because it shows you the effect of people who do. I mean, they use the term conspiracy theorists. These are people. There shouldn't be a term. The CIA came up with conspiracy theory. No, you're just doing what any rational human being should do, which is just, especially when a story or a narrative is coming from a powerful source, especially when it's from a powerful source, because that can impact a large swath of the world. All they're doing is verifying. If you got stuff to hide, yeah, then you come up with conspiracy theory. So the term conspiracy theory, the reason the CIA came up with it, because it bypasses rational thought. It's a trigger. It's a psychological trigger. When you hear conspiracy theorist, you're triggered immediately to say, then what they're saying is ridiculous, irrational, and should be ignored. It's an instantaneous reaction when you put that label on someone.
Rambo, it goes back to the book that you and I were talking about offline. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it's wizardry. Wizardry, they don't hold power, right? Everything you were talking about a few minutes ago. They can't create, they can't build, they can't do any of these things. They can only imitate and mock and, you know, things like that. It's all a play on words. And it's wizardry, essentially. Like that's what wizardry is with the book that I was telling you about. Like that's how they do it. It's a way of words to get people to feel a certain emotion. Meaning I could say something to you right now and mean something entirely different, but I can say it in a way to make you think I mean something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's wizardry. Like that's how they do it. So I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah. So Oz Perlman does a lot of that.
Exactly.
I mean, he's a brilliant guy. I mean, he is brilliant. And the way he manipulates the way people think. He does it with words and actions. Like he knows psychology, believe me. He knows human behavior. But that's what
doesn't mean he's creating anything, though. I mean, the other part of the book, right? The biggest theme of that book is it requires your participation in order for the wizard or the wizardry to actually work. You have to actively participate, even unknowingly, in order for it to work. Otherwise, if you just remove yourself and go, no, like, no, I see it, then it never works. You know, Mr. S knows what's up.
Yeah, so that's what. So yeah, in psychology, conspiracy theory that stops you in your tracks mentally.
Yep. Exactly.
And you disregard whatever that person's saying or that information. If it's been labeled conspiracy theory, then you just immediately, instantaneously just block it out. And it was created by the CIA, the term conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorist. And it works. It's a trigger. What a trigger does is makes you feel a certain way instantaneously, not based on any kind of rational thought or reasoning process. It's just instantaneous. That's what advertising works. That's why, as cheesy as it is, for males, what's the thing that attracts males the strongest? It's an attractive female. You know, heterosexual male. The cheesiest thing to do, they keep doing, is attach an attractive female to a product that has nothing to do with, and it's not a beauty product. Advertise a car, put an attractive female.
Rambo, I was literally gonna say it reminds me of the Carl's Jr. commercials back in the day with Paris Hilton, sitting on a car, eating a sloppy burger. Yeah, perfect example.
Yeah. So that's because it seems cheesy, but it works. It's a trigger. So the next time you see that product, you're a heterosexual male who saw that ad, and you may not realize it. Maybe some do, but for the most part, these things work. It shows in their sales charts. These advertising campaigns work. you associate, it's a trigger, and this on the unconscious level where it's most effective. As a heterosexual male, the thing that attracts you the most, next time you see that product, it triggers that response on the unconscious level, and you purchase the product. Just like you see the word conspiracy theorist. So they've trotted this out now. Immediately, it's part of their damage control now that they're doing. Not damage control, but Daily Beast, it's a major network. It's more Democrat. I wouldn't say liberal, but I'd say Democrat. They call themselves liberal. People would call them liberal, but liberal is actually a certain set of values that the Democratic Party does not really adhere to an actual set of values that you'd call liberal. But they call themselves liberal, but they're Democrat. Is more accurate. Capital D Democrat, not small d Democrat, which is somebody who believes in democracy, which the Democratic Party does not, clearly. So this is a Democrat paper. They'll call themselves liberal, but there you don't really follow that set of principles. But here they are. They're leading the way in basically throwing out the conspiracy theory trigger, psychological trigger, so you don't think. So basically what they're telling you is don't think. You just, there's this virus, this is a scary virus. American posting from quarantine smeared as crisis actor.
Is this the same guy, by the way? I can't tell because without the shirt and the hat. I just want to make sure. It's the same guy, right?
Well, it says speaking to the Daily Beast. So he spoke to the Daily Beast directly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry.
MV Hondius passenger Jake Rosmarin has responded to the conspiracy theorists. So there you go. We know what a conspiracy theorist is. It's a trigger. They're using the phrase conspiracy theorist. It means don't think. Instantaneously disregard what anybody says that challenges this narrative. And believe that he was exhibiting authentic emotion in that video. Believe that. I mean, and that, yeah, he has the interests of the human race at heart. So yeah, it's about it. He went straight to the Daily Beast. So yeah, also conspiracy theorists don't think what they've told you. Tinfoil hat on. Where does the term tinfoil hat come from? Tinfoil hat has to do with people who are subjected to microwave weapons and energy weapons, who need to use aluminum, because aluminum is one of the most effective materials that can block microwave radiation. And the one event that they will publicize in the mainstream is because you can always point the finger at someone else. So yeah, they'll advertise this. This is the American embassy in Havana, Cuba, where people who worked for in the American embassy were coming down with various conditions that they later called Havana syndrome, because it was in Havana, Cuba. And they turned out that the Cuban government was firing microwave weapons and directed energy weapons at the American embassy. And one of the most effective ways of blocking those microwave rays is aluminum. And that's so what they won't tell you, the Cubans do it. It was done by the Cubans. They won't tell you, but Americans do it. Hard to believe the American government would do such a thing. Yes, the American government does it. This is not. So there's a difference. This is a line in the Matrix. A big line for me is when Neo meets Morpheus, and right before Morpheus gives Neo the pill and the water to drink, he says, nobody can tell you what the Matrix is. So Morpheus gives him some idea, but ultimately you really want to know what the Matrix is. He says, nobody can tell you. He
Rambo, what was the note in the skulls? I think you'll remember this. Remember right before like the initiation starts with oh my God, Caleb Mandrake, when he gets all excited and then he goes to drink the water. There was a note there, and I think it
said, said drink me.
Oh, that's all it said. Okay.
Yeah, but that comes from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland imagery is used a lot in MK Ultra. Drink me.
It's funny too that aluminum sounds a lot like Illuminati too.
Yeah.
But anyways.
So Morpheus tells Neo, nobody can tell you what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. So ultimately, and this is for everybody, we're looking into these things, and there are different videos and contributors, people with experience and knowledge and insight who can kind of guide you to things that you decide. You know, people come from different backgrounds. Some are atheists, some have different religious, you know, that resonates with them. But regardless of what it is, ultimately, if you really want to get to the truth, you have to learn the lesson for yourself and see it firsthand yourself. No one can tell you what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself ultimately. So when I talk about this, I'm talking about, so this is what the definition of gnosis is, Gnosis. Gnosis is knowledge you get from lived experience, like you experience it, you learn it by living it. That's gnosis. And ultimately, that's the way you'll learn what the Matrix is. So I'm talking from gnosis because I've been subjected ongoing every day to directed energy weapons. And I have to, one of the most effective ways of blocking it, I have several. I use lead. I wear, every day I wear it's the caps you wear when you operate a radiation machine in hospitals. I got to wear one of those because it got lead is very effective, lined with copper, and yes, aluminum. This is gnosis. I have to deal with it. I know what it's like to feel the symptoms, and I know how you get relief once you do it. It's ongoing. I don't anticipate it'll ever end because maybe it will. I don't know. I don't want to, you know. But that, so I'm talking from, I'm coming from, this is gnosis. So this is not, yes, I read into it. I didn't think it would eventually happen to me, but it is. This is gnosis. I'm speaking from experience. So I know where the term tinfoil hat comes on, where it comes from. It's another attempt to discredit anyone who questions the misdeeds of powerful entities who are influential in the world. This is what they do. They use terms like conspiracy theorists, or don't think, immediately disregard anything you hear from a conspiracy theorist, and the term tinfoil. Tinfoil is, it comes directly from literal human rights violations that are ongoing, that publications like this have no intention of ever addressing. Violations by the United States government, subjecting American citizens, just people, even if they're not American, Americans are non-American people, to these kinds of weapons, radiation weapons, and now they ridicule that by saying tinfoil. That's legit, and what they're basically telling you, they have no interest in really doing what they say they are: daily beast, liberal, Democrat, like democracy. That's not what they're about. Not when you're using terms like conspiracy theorist and tinfoil hat. Now, gematria. Not everybody thinks gematria is necessarily proof, but what are the odds? We know what gematria is. It is a letter number association. You give, depending on the cipher, you give a numerical value to each letter of the alphabet. And we just look at the base ciphers. What are the odds? If you just take one cipher and a certain term lines up, has the same value. So what does gematria show? It shows you when two separate terms have the same value. That common numerical value is an indication that they may have something connected. But I mean, you can't just go with that, obviously. Here we look into other things, not just the gematria. We look at other things, you know, the date durations and the time and other related terms that come up with the same value. So it's not just that. But you have different ciphers. So you'll have a match in one cipher, but you have a whole different set of letter number attributions. Things will match in those. We have what's called a super match. What I call a super match. At least 3 out of 4, if not a grand slam. Crisis actor. So they know what they're doing, the Daily Beast. When they highlight in parentheses, crisis actor. American posting from quarantine smeared as crisis actor. Okay, well, they can talk about tinfoil and conspiracy theorist. What are the odds? Crisis actor. What's his name? Jake Rosemarin. Look at Jake Rosemarin and crisis actor. You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Can we get a couple claps, a couple likes in the comments? I mean, come on, a couple subscribes or likes, like you guys. Like, wow. Wow. I didn't know that.
I was gonna say earlier too. I didn't know this, but that's crazy. Great find, Rambo. Solar eclipse is a super match also in all these ciphers. So that's also interesting, considering we just talked about these eclipses. But yeah, solar eclipse equals 134.53, and 190, which this one's not here, but yeah, 190 is the other cipher. But yeah, crazy.
You know what's crazy too, really quick? I just I don't even know if Rosie Chico was meaning to tune me on to this, but with everything we've talked about lack of emotion, lack of heart, tinfoil hat, Wizard of Oz, everything we talked about, what about the Tin Man? What does the Tin Man want? He wants a heart. He wants a heart, right? So it's you know, and like you were talking about, Rambo, with the tinfoil hat, you know, they want to pull at your heartstrings, and then as soon as you start questioning things, they call it, you know, they say don't look at the tinfoil hats. You know what I mean? Yeah. So shout out to Rosie Chica. I just think it's funny too. It happens to be Rosie who shared that one. But Rambo, wow. Jake Rosemarin and Crisis Act, you guys. Wowee. Wowee. Yep. Not even surprised, Sig says.
So think of the levels of irony here, where it's like wink, wink. It is a conspiracy, but we do a story.
It's not a theory, though.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's still, even if it's not, like, just say if you take the level of proof required to have a conviction in a court of law, you'd say it doesn't reach that level of evidence. It's plausible. I think we've shown that it's plausible. It's a theory, but it's a plausible theory. So conspiracy theories can be plausible, but the whole nature of a conspiracy theory, or whatever, a conspiratorial act that it's being done by people in power, of course will cover their tracks, and of course will make it so that it's difficult, if not impossible, to prove. So with conspiracy theories, no, you can't always prove them, because that's the whole nature of people in powerful positions, is they make it so you can't have the proof and they can't be convicted in the court of law. You think there have been any convictions with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who've been subjected to energy weapons? And the patents, you can go straight to the patent office. This is .gov. The government of the United States has a list of those weapons. Now, this is what's not a theory. This is a fact. These weapons are listed on the website of, you know, in the patent office of the United States government, and they actually describe each one of them. So it's not just patent XX, this, that, number. No, it describes them, and it describes the energy weapons. There hasn't been a single conviction, and there's a list of the companies that make them, that actually have manufacturing. Companies such as Raytheon. There's a major manufacturer of energy weapons, direct energy weapons. And so this is the thing. So people who are genuinely concerned with human rights, I wouldn't consider the Daily Beast to be one of those. They have actually petitioned the United States government, appealed to them, like, if you're going to approve these weapons, there has to be some sort of oversight that goes along with it, because there'll be no way of proving, if somebody is subjected to them, there'll be no way of that person proving that they are being subjected to these weapons. You can't. They've tried. There's never been a conviction. They'll talk about the Cubans. It's even reached the Supreme Court. You cannot. And all politicians will run away from that subject. If you say we'd like oversight on directed energy weapons, which they're all listed in the patent office, we know who's making them. How are they being used? Let's know, how are they being used, and against who? Because this could be a potential human rights major abuses that are going on, and they refuse to address it.
Rambo, really quick, just for your notes, I just want to make sure this doesn't sift through the cracks too. The Wizards apparently have the #1 pick in this year's NBA draft. I wasn't even paying attention to, you know, the lottery and who's got the pick, but shout out to Mr. S. Very credible source here. So I appreciate you, Mr. S, for letting us know about that, because that's extremely interesting with everything we've been talking about with just the Wizard of Oz and wizardry and all that stuff moving forward. And it ties back into Michael Jordan. I mean, Michael Jordan coming back, playing for the Wizards. I could go on and on and on about that, but I just want to make sure that you were aware of that, Rambo. Thank you, Mr. S.
Oh yeah, I knew they had the number one pick. I didn't really, I'd come across. I didn't really focus much attention on it, but yeah, it'll be very. I think they've identified someone. I think usually when it comes to the number one pick, typically they kind of know who that'll be. So yeah, that person obviously with all the wizardry that's been emphasized. Yes, it will be interesting to see. Some people know already, I think, or potentially who that will be most likely.
Well, it's funny. Well, one of the top projected picks is AJ DiBiase. So that would just be crazy. AJ, the number one pick, going to the Wizards.
Yeah, so there you are. They're already doing it. Trying to convince people not to think and don't trust a tinfoil hat, ha, wink, wink. What they're protecting is powerful people who violate human rights, is what they're doing. And you'll peel below the surface, all the way below the surface, which is what you do. You want to know what the matrix is? Find out. You want to know what the matrix is. It doesn't stop at the government. What are the government afraid of? Like, who's so powerful from the government that if you pull the curtain behind it's the government? No, there's somebody else the government is answering to. JFK talked about it and he ended up dead. Sounds like tinfoil hat. JFK said if you take a secret oath, you should not work for the United States government. You can't take two oaths. You have your right to take a secret oath, but if you do, you should not work for the United States government. JFK said it. They call it I think they call it the secret society speech. He said the very word secrecy, this is JFK in the speech, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. That's maybe the greatest speech or part of the speech that JFK said. And what happened to JFK? How did he end up? Because it took courage. And the message was sent. Never again will you see a major American politician make a statement like that. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And so this is what you get now. Conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hat, highlighting crisis actor, and then we do gematria, and we see what they're all about. So this is the source of a lot of this. The people who are doing this, they use magic and ritual and sorcery and cast a spell, spelling. That's why gematria is used in magic and mysticism. So there it is. Jake Rosemarin, crisis actor. So gematria is validated. English gematria. They'll also tell you that, oh yes, gematria is legitimate, but Hebrew, only Hebrew gematria and Greek. And it's only applied to ancient texts. Hebrew and Greek is not, even if Hebrew gematria is legitimate, it's not used in the modern day. It's only used in ancient texts, and there are codes in the ancient texts. So you learn the codes, and you can analyze, ancient texts in Hebrew, especially religious texts, and Greek as well. But those are not used today, and certainly not English gematria. That's not a thing. There we go. I mean, not that you need to tell this audience, but okay. So let's look more into this. It's not just the gematria. This is his sister, Rachel Rosemarin. That's Jake Rosemarin's sister. This is from LinkedIn. She's a managing associate from the recovery division at Haggerty Consulting. All the H's. Here's another H. Haggerty Consulting. Who are Haggerty Consulting? MPH Global Health. Well, that's interesting. This is the guy crying about being in quarantine, and you better be alarmed. I'm so human. We're so human. Let's come together. This is his sister, Rachel Rosemarin, works for Haggerty Consulting. Who is Haggerty Consulting? It's a good question. Snapshot of Chicago. Here we go again.
This is why the moment you saw me wearing this hat, you were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah. It's right up. You can't get away from Chicago anymore. Pope from Chicago. Snapshot of Chicago area disaster response firm tasked with overseeing LA's wildfire. So this is from Haggerty Consulting. What they do is disaster response, and that's who Rosemarin's sister works for. So I'll describe Haggerty and its founder. Steve Haggerty is the founder and senior advisor of Haggerty Consulting, one of the nation's leading emergency management consulting firms. Steve also served as the 21st mayor of Evanston. Evanston is in the suburbs of Chicago. It's in Cook County, so it's pretty much part of Chicago. It's just Charlie Kirk. We can't get away from Chicago. The home, the Cepheus the King, and CK, Charlie Kirk, the Bear. We just talked about this is all Chicago. Steve also served 21st mayor of Evanston, Illinois, and is a fellow of the National Academy of Public Administration. During his tenure as mayor, Steve successfully led Evanston through a challenging and turbulent period. Which period might that be? This includes leading the city to address the challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. This is who his sister works for. Under Steve's leadership, Evanston had one of the lowest COVID-19 positivity and fatality rates, and the highest. I don't. People don't say this word. I don't know even. So I'll just not say it because people don't say. There's probably a reason people don't like to say it, but the highest rates of. You're talking about the Cross My Heart and Hope to Die. What's the next line again? And Cross My Heart. Needle.
Cross my heart, hope to die, stick a needle in my eye.
Yeah, stick a needle. And he was crossing his arms there. Stick a needle. So under Steve's leadership, Evanston had one of the lowest, COVID positivity and fatality rates, and the highest stick a needle rates among urban ring cities nationwide upon leaving Evanston. So that's what he's known for. That's his claim to fame. And that's who Rachel Rosemarin works for. And that's the sister of Jake Rosemarin. Maybe this is a coincidence. So what are the odds? There's also a video. I don't know if I'll click on this. So there's another video. This isn't his first post. This is his first post that went viral. He had a post before. Let's see, will this link work? Okay, I'll just I'll go to another window and post the link. Put the volume up, sorry.
Gorgeous vaccinated girls get boosted, and gorgeous boosted girls get boosted again if you're eligible. Gorgeous girls get vaccinated. Gorgeous vaccinated girls get boosted, and gorgeous boosted girls get boosted again if you're eligible.
Yeah, so that's him back in 2020.
Do it.
Yeah. So
do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So this one didn't go viral, but that's him. That's what he pushes. And his sister works from a mayor whose claim to fame is how many people that he got stick a needle, had a needle stuck in them. That's his claim to fame. That's who his sister works for. So now we know. You can call it tinfoil hat all you like and tell people don't believe a conspiracy theorist. Does any of this look shady at all?
Nah, you're totally reaching here, Rambo. Yeah. I'll be honest, man.
I literally wear a tinfoil hat. I'll just say that. I'm just being open with it. I literally every day wear a tinfoil hat.
You're crazy, man. That this guy just wants to save the world. He wants to make sure that people are, doing it, and you're gonna be sexier if you do it.
I don't know why he focused on girls, but anyway, yeah. So this is another thing. So the statement he's making here, how they're saying Evanston had the highest stick and needle rate, and what they're saying, the lowest fatality. So this is a fact. Just look at worldwide. Where was the lowest rate of these COVID cases? These are just facts. These are all the health facts. Where in the world were the lowest rates of this past pandemic? It was Africa. Now, Africa has its problems with health issues. That's a fact.
You're talking about back in 2020.
Yes, because that's what this is about. They're saying under the name of this company, Haggerty Consulting, who his sister works for, it founded the founder of Haggerty Consulting. He was a mayor of a city that they said had the highest rate of needle sticking. And they're saying as a result, it had the lowest rate, one of the lowest rates in the United States of contracting COVID and deaths from it. But this is the thing. So they're equating the needle with health, not getting the illness, the flu, and fewer deaths. But globally, the part of the world that had the lowest rates of COVID is Africa. Now, Africa has its health problem, obviously, has a lot of health problems. COVID was not one of them. The death rate from COVID in Africa was rock bottom, and Africa had the lowest rate of needle sticking in the world. And a lot of that had to do with the lack of infrastructure. The reason that Africa had the lowest rate of needle sticking is not a good reason, because obviously most of the time you do need good infrastructure. You do need access to healthcare. Urban areas, rural areas are more difficult to access in Africa than anywhere else. That's just a fact. And normally that's not a good thing, but as a result, and they'll talk about that over and over, about Africa's lack of infrastructure. Yes, but because of that, they could not administer the needle sticking in Africa. They just couldn't.
That's interesting, considering that it hasn't Bill Gates done a lot of testing with needle sticking in Africa?
Yes, he has. Yes, he has, a lot. In fact, there was a big development in Kenya where for the first time after all these years, so Bill Gates had immunity. He didn't just do it, but he had immunity. So even if it was proven that the Africans were adversely affected by these needle stickings that he promoted, if it was proven, we're talking about proof now, not theory, proven that they were the result, they were the cause of any health problems, they were given immunity in most African countries. In Kenya, for one, they had immunity. He had immunity. So regardless of what happens, he has immunity. Even if it kills them, harms them, destroys their lives, and it's proven he has immunity. Well, but recently, the Kenyan government removed his immunity, which is a pretty big development. I don't know what the latest is on that, but they got rid of the immunity clause in Kenya, at least. I don't know about other African countries, but they removed it in Kenya. And this is the thing with Africa. They couldn't really administer the jab, the needle, in Africa. They just couldn't. They wanted to, but they couldn't. They tried blaming South Africa for the Omicron. Oh, there's a new strain that's developed. They say, oh, South Africa, you're going to blame South Africa now. Somehow some strain popped up. And what happens within weeks of a new strain popping up? A vaccine has been developed. Like, you know how long it takes to legally create a vaccine legally? The testing period after the
decades.
It's decades. And even if you go through the whole testing period, once you've developed a potential vaccine, then you need a peer review process. A peer review process involves multiple independent parties. The longer the test period, the more safe and effective it is. If it's proven safe, obviously over a longer period. Like 6 months of testing doesn't really tell you anything. A year maybe tell you a little bit. Okay, you're good for a year, but no, 10 years typically should be the minimum. How long does that take? You're looking at 20 years. So you'd have the COVID strains. 2 weeks later, they have a vaccine. I mean, come on. So this is the thing. So he's saying they're saying the needle led to Evanston having the low rates of death and infection, but the region of the world with the lowest rate of needles had the fewest cases. What they'll do to fudge the numbers there, they'll say, yeah, that's because the Africans don't keep records well. That's what they're saying. That's due to the poor record keeping in Africa. That's what they're going to say. But the fact is, the most vaccinated country in the world is Israel by far. Israelis were more vaccinated than anyone else in the entire world. And that's actually what he's talking about. Get your boosters. He's saying he didn't just say get your vaccine. He said get your boosters, beautiful girls.
No, he said get your boosters. Come on, girls.
But still, he's still trying to associate beauty, beautiful girl with getting it. You see the psychological, and it works for some, especially younger ones. If you get that, then you're beautiful. Who doesn't want to be beautiful? But what is beauty really? The real essence of beauty is not physical, and these are not beautiful people. These are ugly people, deceiving people and destroying lives. That's what real beauty is. If he was really into beauty, real beauty is not physical. He's not a beautiful person. Neither is the Daily Beast or.
No, he's ugly as shit. Let's just be honest.
I'm talking about
he's not a good-looking guy.
No, I'm not talking about physical. I'm saying beauty is not physical. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying he's ugly.
Yeah, a physically ugly person can be a real beautiful person. That's real beauty. So he needs to focus on real beauty if he really cares. He doesn't.
100%. 100%.
So this is the thing about the jab. No, it does not correlate with a lower rate of death and contraction of the disease. It simply does not. It does not. And this is a huge example. Is an entire continent had a lower rate than everyone else, and they didn't get boosted, didn't get vaccinated. The country with the highest rate, they kept getting infected. So they had so in Israel, they had the initial vaccine. Then they said, oh my God, it's mutated. There's a new strain. Then they recommended a vaccine within weeks. A booster was approved. Then another strain came up. So they said, okay, you need a second booster now. Within weeks, they've proven the efficacy and safety of a booster in 2 weeks. Then they said that was mandated. Then a third one happened. Then a fourth one. Israel had the original shot and 4 boosters. They got 5 in Israel. In Israel, when the fourth one came out, if you had the original shot and 3 boosters and you didn't have the fourth, you were considered unvaccinated. And they were already rolling in the vaccine apartheid. You couldn't go into public transport. You couldn't go to certain areas. And that was rolled back. So it's not all gloom and doom, or they rule the world and they're evil and we're doomed. That's learned hopelessness as well. And sometimes people who, they say they're speaking truth to power, maybe intentionally or not, some is intentional, some is not, is instilling learned hopelessness. I don't think what happened with COVID was what they wanted to happen. They wanted, that was it. It was not a test run. So people say it's a test run because it worked somewhat. It transferred a huge amount of wealth into the elite. A huge transfer of wealth happened. They succeeded there, but the full agenda did not succeed. Not everything they do will automatically happen. They wanted the permanent apartheid where it's apartheid. You either have the shot and you can do things. It's part of the social credit system where you actually get different prices if you have it. There are places like Austria. Wow, what famous person from Austria? Austria was one of the countries. These are the 2 countries that were really adopted the strictest rules during COVID. It was Israel and Austria. How ironic. Considering who's from Austria, the most famous person from Austria, who always will be the most famous person from Austria.
The Austrian oak.
They had, well, I'll talk about Adolf. Not Arnold.
Okay.
Oh, you think of Arnold first? Okay,
yeah,
Arnold first. That's the thing. You know the reason is because when you think of Adolf,
that's what I think of.
No, because you think of Germany when you think of him. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, so that's understandable. He was born in Austria, but he was the leader of Germany. Yeah, so you think of him as German.
Yeah. Yep.
He was actually born in Austria. Austria was really strict. And Austria was starting to impose fines on people. They were fining families. So Austria was mandating the jab for minors, which is ridiculous because even by the official WHO, everything, minors weren't getting it. Teenagers, minors, 12, 10-year-olds were not getting it at all. And yet Austria, they had mandates that minors should get it. And if you have a child who's a minor and they're not jabbed, your family was going to get fined, and you were fined monthly for every month your child is not jabbed. So it's not a one-time fine. You get your fine, and they check up on you a month later. Did your child get? And children weren't getting it. Okay, another fine. They proposed that in Austria. I mean, just to get a deeper look into this, you can look. I didn't have time to prepare, but you can look up links that confirm that Austria was really strict. They were stopping people in the streets. This is very reminiscent, and because I did decodes on it, and I actually took the screenshots from articles of Austrian police stopping people, and you had to show your vaccination proof on a cell phone, and police were stopping randomly checkpoints. Let me see. Show me your cell phone. Show me your confirmation. And people were showing that to police. That's Austria. So that's where that's coming from. But people say, oh, that was a test run because it didn't succeed because everything they do succeeds. No, everything they do does not succeed. That's learned hopelessness. It didn't succeed. And so I don't think they also want to, yes, there should be some healthy anxiety if you know what's going on in the world. But at the same time, the hopelessness should not be there. And one of the ways they can succeed, even if they don't get what they want 100%, as far as basically an enslaved planet, is at least get the vibration of worry and panic and despair. Is it understandable why people would? It is understandable why people would feel that way, but they also want you to have that. But you should still take heart in the fact that that agenda was not fully successful. It was not. It was defeated. And it's not hopeless. They don't have absolute power. They're coming from a lower dimensional vibration. This may sound sappy, maybe, but what the thing that humans have that they don't have is the thing that AI does not have, and lower dimensional beings, demons do not have, and that's that heart. Humans have the strongest vibration in existence. That wasn't created. It is God, and that is the power of love. Humans have that. They don't have that.
I want to echo that right now. Everybody, humans have the strongest vibration of love that exists. It's the most powerful thing on this planet.
In the universe, in existence.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I mean, whatever this is that we're living in, it is the most powerful force that exists.
Right. So what they try to do is get you to feel hate and anxiety. So even with this guy now, they want you to hate him. Is he a deceiver? Yes. But they want you to hate him. So if all you do is pour hatred at him, they succeeded. If nothing else, even if their agenda does not get fulfilled, if they can get you to hate them and hate Fauci, just feel hatred towards Fauci and this character, they at least succeeded there, because they got you away from the one thing they don't have, which is the whole AI machine agenda, humans versus machines. It's the one thing machines and demons, lower dimensional beings, do not have: the ability to feel emotion and express the power of love. That's their enemy. That's why they do Skull and Bones. Their enemy is what they fear most, the thing that they can't defeat, which is the highest vibration in the universe: love. Unconditional, pure love. That's what defeats them. And so the way they do it is in various ways get you not to express or emit that.
Speaking of love, very soon says, love, Rambo. We love you, Rambo.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So a lot of this information that I got here was actually research done by a German website. This is German site on X. It's called Frau Hodel. It's German, so they speak German in Switzerland. They speak German in Switzerland. They speak German in Austria. So I don't know if they're from Germany, but I believe that because I saw they had some posts in German as well. So Frau Hodel, that's actually where I got this. I shout out to them, give them credit. This is actually the channel on X, Frau Hodel, who actually discovered that old a Twitter video by Jake Rosemarin, and she broke down, and she also did the research on finding out that his sister works for Haggerty and what Haggerty is connected to, how Haggerty is connected to the jab and vaccine. That was the research of this channel. So a big shout out to this channel. And a lot of their work appears to be in German. I think it's German. So this is where a lot of it is coming from. They've done well. I think they've gone maybe they've gone viral. So shout out to this channel. You maybe check out this channel. They've on X. So I recommend that. So yeah, so so after, I have some symbolism to talk about. I don't know if KODI has something to add now, but I just wanted to talk about some of the symbolism.
I was just gonna say the X part is funny because we've been talking about cross my heart and hope to die. So you got your X there. And who was it here in the chat? Yeah. Sojourn. Yeah, love is the answer. That was one of the very first videos I ever did on my channel. And it was about Allen Iverson, AI, aka the answer, being my favorite player growing up. I used to make myself create a player, right? You know, the avatar thing, playing a video game. Imagine this. Blonde cornrows with the sleeve, like making myself look like Allen Iverson, the white boy. But like think about that. Allen Iverson, the answer. Who did he play for? What is he best known for? Playing in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Love is the answer. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, after all this time, I was like, wow, they even said it right there in the nickname of Allen Iverson back in the day. So
they're doing a yin yang irony thing with it, because AI can't express love. It can express it and imitate it. It can express a vibration, imitate it. It can't feel it. It can't. It just can't. You can't.
Right.
So
it's crazy. Like, you fast forward this far, you know, down the road with what we've been talking about, I guess.
So that's what they're doing. So they're doing the irony thing. AI, which cannot express love, and the whole AI agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's in the city of brotherly love. And remember what I talked about? This is all about.
He played for Memphis too, by the way.
Oh, he did. Did he really? AI? Allen Iverson?
I'm pretty sure. I know he played for Detroit. He played for Denver. I'm almost positive he played for Memphis. For what it's worth. But anyway.
Yeah. So remember how I talked about the Trinity is central to all of this: thought, action, emotion, and emotion's the thing they want to destroy the most. It's about the Trinity. And that he wore the number 3. He wore the Trinity number. So that is what is quoted with him.
That's why 3 was always my favorite number growing up. Literally him. You know?
Yeah, so he had the Trinity number. Yeah. I don't know if KODI wants to add something.
Yeah, KODI, where you're at. You're a great listener, man. If he's even still awake, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here, but I am listening, and just a little bit sleep. I'm definitely sleepy, but yeah, the whole thing with Allen Iverson, or I just keep thinking back to the basketball thing. This Jason Collins just died too, you know, and he played for Memphis also. And what's crazy about him is he was born on December 2nd, which reminds you of like Kobe Bryant's game 1-2-2. But Jason Collins, let's see, hold on. Jason. So he was born on the 336th day of the year, with 29 days left. So he's born on 336th day of the year with 29 days remaining. Jason Collins, or Brandon Clark, died at 29, and his name equals 336. So how perfect, you know? These guys are both in the news, dying at the same time, and the other guy who dies has his birthday of the year is the gematria of the other guy's name and his age that he dies at. He died at 29. His name equals 336. And again, Jason Collins born on the 336th day of the year with 29 days left in the year. And technically, they're saying Jason Collins died on the 233 days left in the year, which is the gematria of Brandon Clark. So
there's your JC connection too, right? We were talking earlier about the Jesus connection, BC before Christ, and now you got Jason Collins with the JC.
Yeah, BC before Christ, before JC. Yeah, that's yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw that in there. That's something I noticed. But another thing is, you know, this Jason Collins, he was drafted in 2001. That was the same year the Grizzlies moved to Memphis. And
was he drafted by the Wizards? I just saw a Wizards thing flash up.
He was, I believe he was on the Wizards, but I don't know if he was drafted by the Wizards.
I just asked because apparently they have the #1 pick now coming up.
He was drafted by the Rockets.
That's fitting. Going back to the dog Red Rocket themes, you guys remember that stream?
Well, this kind of reminds me of the phallus too, because
that's what I'm saying. The Red Rocket and the dog. Yeah, the dog. Anyways.
Yeah. So, he was drafted in 2001, and then he played for the Grizzlies, who moved to Memphis in 2001. So, of course, we know what happened that year. Yeah, and let's see. He was the first. Wait, hold on. Yeah, he was openly gay. So this kind of makes me think about this guy that Rambo was just talking about. He sounds pretty openly gay. So.
Oh no, yeah, he actually is married. I mean, that's not part of the issue. Because I know they're going to try to take advantage of that, or people they'll leave it open to accuse people who are challenging what he's saying as being homophobic. That's why I prefer to just stay away from that part. But yes, he is married. He does have a husband. But they're going to try. Yeah, they're going to try to smear people as homophobic. That's why I just stay away from that. But yes, he is.
Yeah, and notice he's a twin, Jason Collins. Wow, that's somebody in the chat mentioned that. And that's crazy because Elvis, who I believe is connected to this with the Memphis stuff, Elvis was a twin. And remember, the Twin Towers, 2001, he was drafted in 2001. Jason Collins. And the Grizzlies moved to Memphis in 2001. Now this guy dies who was a twin. His twin is Jaren. Oh, he played basketball too. He was drafted by the Jazz in the second round. Oh, that's crazy. So his twin brother was drafted in the second round by Utah in the 2001 draft. So in the 2001 draft, both the twins were drafted. Wow. Twin Towers that year. Huh. Uh-oh.
Cody.
9/11 is going to be 90/11 days old tomorrow. So this is very interesting. If you measure from the date of 9/11, the Twin Towers, to tomorrow's date, it's 90/11 days. And now you have this twin dying right before this date. He was drafted in 2001 with his twin brother. So yeah, that's huge actually.
Cody, I don't mean to put you on the spot here or throw you a curveball, but I want to shout out, I think it was Maggie. I think Maggie in the chat here. And thank God I caught this one because it would have fell through the cracks. We're talking about a lot of deaths right now. Here we go. Maggie. Yep. What have we? What was I talking about big time leading up to the Final Four? Arizona, the revenge of the nerds, right? The death of Robert Carradine, etc. Arizona made their first Final Four in 25 years. I mean, time equals 25. That was a big ritual right there. But check this out. Shout out Maggie. I just pulled it up. KODI, I would love to see you real time right now. And let's just put our brains together here. Another guy from Revenge of the Nerds died today.
Huh.
Is the jab Bill Gates' revenge? I already did the research. If you could type in Donald, his first name's Donald, last name Gibb, Gibb. He played the ogre in the Revenge of the Nerds. He was like the bully of the bullies. He was like the jock of the jocks. Yeah, Fred Ogre Polawaski. He died today, apparently. Kind of hard to Google right now because it's so brand new, but my God, man. I mean, as we're streaming right now, we have another Revenge of the Nerds death right now.
Well, I mean,
Donald Gibb.
Donald Richard Gibb. I mean, well, think about it. Richard isn't Sam Darnold's middle name Richard? And Sam Darnold got the revenge. Well, I was thinking about how the Seahawks got revenge, and the Seahawks. Yeah, there might be something with that because he got the revenge of the dark side. It's something I talked about a lot during. Actually, that was one of the main reasons I talked about the revenge, because it kind of started with the Super Bowl. So he's got the same middle name as Darnold. Interesting, he's got the 328 gematria. I was just looking at that number because that's the gematria of Osiris in Latin. And I was just connecting all this stuff with Osiris. He's got that 70.
They're coming out with a Shrek 5, by the way, in 2027. Like when I think Ogre, the character he played in Revenge of the Nerds, I think of Shrek. And Shrek 5 coming out next year, for what it's worth.
I mean, this 70, Donald Gibb 70, I just talked about this number in my last decode. Because this was the big number with the hantavirus outbreak, because the guy was the guy was 70 years old, his same age as Pope Leo, Vatican 70. He supposedly caught the virus in a landfill, which equals 70. Ushuaia, Argentina equals 70.
Yeah, Sally Woody says he's the one who pointed out the nerds in the movie when they got to college. Yeah, he's the big ogre. You know, he's kind of the face of the jocks, and he goes, nerds, nerds. Like that's his whole thing. Rambo, he's the one that was hanging the nerd upside down. You remember that when we went over that whole thing? That's him. That's him. Now he just died. You know, we did this whole presentation with Robert Carradine, but now you got the ogre who was hanging that guy upside down, who's now reportedly dead today as we're streaming.
Yeah, that's an actual real life initiation activity. It's part of initiation rites for some secret societies. That was actually real life what they're showing there. They're initiating it. I kind of went into that a little bit when you brought it up.
Yeah, Don Gibbs.
Is it Gibbs or Gibb? Oh yeah, it's Gibb.
Yeah, Gibb.
Gibb.
Played ogre.
Don Gibb.
Man, that's wild.
No,
Thank you, Maggie, for sharing that. Yeah, and I'm sorry, KODI. I don't mean to put you on the spot, man. You're just so good at just kind of diving into something like this, and this is very, very fresh news. I mean,
Well-
we're talking fresher than Brandon Clark. So,
I'm just thinking about how. When did Robert Carradine die? That would be the.
yeah, that was. Let me pull.
Was it 223?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So.
Yep.
78 days apart. Revenge of the Nerds.
He died at 71 too. I think this guy died at 71 as well.
Oh, did they both die at 71?
Yes, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's interesting, huh? Both 71 years old, even. 78 days apart, they died. 111, 219, or 220. That 220 is a huge number with Donald Trump and Skull and Bones Brotherhood of Death. Also was with this COVID. It was a huge number.
Oh yeah, BPM. Thank you for the reminder. Hulk Hogan died at 71.
So Revenge of the Nerds.
Hulk Hogan is like kind of the ogre, right? He's kind of got that vibe.
Interesting. Revenge of the Nerds has a match with Vancouver Grizzlies.
Don't forget,
what
Revenge
that
of the
might be.
Nerds released on the July 20th. Isn't that the date of the first moon mission?
Yeah. 201 day of the year.
Yep.
I mean, I'll have to think more about the 78 or 79.
Wow, Catherine O'Hara too died at 71. That is a lot of 71s, you guys. Wow.
Well, that was a huge number with. I mean, that's Catholic, but that was kind of where that's a Federal Reserve number, and I talked about how the Federal Reserve is at the center of. It's always at the center of everything. Most people just don't look at it, but the Federal Reserve is about ready to appoint a new chair. In fact, I believe he got voted through the Senate today, and his name is Kevin Warsh. And when Kevin Warsh was selected by Donald Trump to take over this position, it was the day that Catherine O'Hara died. And of course, Kevin in the Home Alone that was the whole riddle. The riddle was that when Trump selected Kevin as the Federal Reserve chair, the mother of Kevin in Home Alone died, right? And on the front of Home Alone, Kevin is making a shock face. Well, this is the Nixon shock. So right before the stream, or right before I went to bed earlier today, somebody in my comments had pointed out to me that the horse that's running in the Preakness Stakes in a few days is being ridden by a guy who's born the year of the Nixon shock. And in fact, the Nixon shock happened in what year? 71. And so this horse that he's riding, so the rider's name is Velasquez. He's born 3 months and 10 days after the Nixon shock. The horse that he's riding is called Corona de Oro, which means crown of gold.
Oh, man.
So Nixon did the Nixon shock in 71. 3 months and 10 days later, this guy's born, John Velasquez. He's riding a horse that means crown of gold this weekend. And the horse is born on what date? March 10th. So the amount of time between the Nixon shock and this rider's birth is the date of the horse's birth. So this is clearly about the Nixon shock, which is why you have a Federal Reserve chair just getting voted through the Senate today. And Catherine, everyone's saying, about the 71s, like I said, but like, again, the Nixon shock was in 71. And then, so this guy was born in 71. And this horse is literally, we just had a horse win called Golden Tempo, Golden Timing, right? So I'm not saying this horse is going to win, but it would make a lot of sense. This guy's even from Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico is rich port, means rich port, money, gold, wealth. So there is a lot of, and then again, I showed Federal Reserve equals 71. This guy just dies at 71 on the same day the Federal Reserve votes, or the Senate passes.
Yeah, Mr. S got ahead of me here.
There might even be more here.
I was going to say, isn't that Bad
Jason
Bunny's
Collins
birthday?
equals Federal Reserve. So yeah, I mean,
it's Bad Bunny's birthday.
I could probably have a whole channel connecting everything that happens in the news every day to the Federal Reserve, because it seems like every time I am talking about the Federal Reserve, it's always like perfect. It's always connected. So, especially on a day like today, like I said. But again, think about the shock face from Kevin in Home Alone. Literally, the front of the cover is a shock face. Like he's making a face of shock. Nixon shock.
And it's also Bad Bunny's birthday, right? It's also Osama bin Laden's birthday. I know Rambo, that there was another birthday. What wasn't it? One of the maybe I'm wrong here, but I was talking about the Mario stuff, right? We've had the death of the creator of Mario, and also the name or the guy who the whole video game of Mario, he died over the last year as well. And then I pointed out the golden bunny, the golden rabbit in that game, and tying it right back into Donnie Darko. But yeah, Bad Bunny, gold reserve, ties all right in, brother.
Well, another thing I pointed out in my video today is the gold statue that just got dedicated on May 7th. So May 7th, a pastor named Mark Burns dedicated Trump's gold statue at Trump's golf course. And on the day that that happened, May 7th, and don't forget, golden equals 57. The horse that just won is Golden Tempo. It was all a false idol ritual. It was the whole thing was because if you guys didn't see my video, it's a lot to explain. But
yeah, Todd Golden, the coach, winning for Florida 2 years ago.
Yeah.
At this point, yep.
But yeah, and I was going to talk earlier about how this connects to Osiris, the golden phallus, right? But also, what was I going to say? Shoot, now I forgot what I was going to say about the.
I'm sorry.
Oh, the statue. The statue that got inaugurated, or that got dedicated by this pastor. On the day that happened, Trump had been president for a total. I mean, if you combine his two terms, I'm going to start to look at this. I just had this idea today to look at like how many total days he's been president of the United States. And if you look at the day that this happened, this golden statue, he had been president for 1933 days. And I immediately knew what that was about, because 1933 is the year that they made people turn in their gold. FDR. Executive Order 6102. All people must turn in their gold bullion, their gold certificates. So what's the chances? Trump's 1933 days as president total. On that day, they inaugurate a golden statue. And then 1933 was the year they made people turn in their gold. And now this was just a few days after Golden Tempo won. And now you got, what I just said with this Federal Reserve stuff happening. And that also happened. That statue also was happened on the same day that Seattle Slew died, the racehorse that won the Triple Crown. Going back to the Seattle stuff, the revenge, Seattle Seahawks. And again, Sam Darnold's middle name is Richard, like you're rich. And Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny. So this Velasquez, this rider of this horse, Corona de Oro, he's Puerto Rican. Bad Bunny is Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico means port of rich port.
Didn't Macaulay Culkin, going back to Home Alone, didn't he play Richie Rich?
Yeah, he did. Yep, exactly.
There you go.
That's what I forgot to mention, because back when I did that decode about that Federal Reserve connection to Kevin Warsh, I mentioned that how Macaulay Culkin was not only in Home Alone, he was in a movie called Richie Rich. So yeah, I don't know, when it's going to happen. I've been saying it for a long time, but there's going to be a shock to the economy. I mean, it's already kind of happening slowly, I guess, in a way, the economic stuff. But the new Federal Reserve chair is interesting, right? Because it's been a long time since we had a new one. So that's what I'm saying is that, and his name is Kevin. Is there going to be a shocking financial event during Kevin's, just like the shock face on Home Alone? That's what I think is going to happen. It's going to be all about this shocking thing. I don't know if it's going to have to do with, also Kevin Warsh has gotten nominated for 14 years as the chair of Federal Reserve. And think about how that connects to Osiris. 14 pieces. And the 14th piece is like the golden phallus, right? So, yeah, I'll stop there because I'm going to have to get off here anyways. It's already so late, but that's what I see with this Revenge of the Nerds thing might also be connected to that, because we had this 71 stuff.
Amazing stuff, Cody. Seriously, like I said, I didn't want to put you on the spot. Shout out to Maggie for letting me know about Donald Gibb, who played Ogre in Revenge of the Nerds. It was only a couple months ago. We were talking about Robert Carradine. So we have another Revenge of the Nerds death that happened. Let's not forget, too, I don't even remember the actor's name, but there was an actor who's now in a lot of, let's just say, PDF file stuff going on, who was in The First Kid. He was the FBI agent in The First Kid. He was in Revenge of the Nerds, and, he's got his own court case going on. But Cody, great stuff. I know it's getting late. We are at the 2 hour and 30-minute mark at this point, so we should probably start landing the plane, so to speak. But before we do it, Rambo, any additions, anything else to add on, I guess, to kind of what Cody was sharing?
He was adding on to what I said, so
well, yeah, I mean,
we just keep going forever, but
yeah,
no, those are great thoughts by him as usual. And the nerd thing is big too. You notice that a lot of the Trump assassins are nerds, like the guy Matthew Crooks and Butler. He's a nerdy looking guy with glasses. The latest one, Cole Allen, was a nerd. He's a JPL, he's into rocket science, rocketry science. There's a thing with nerds with Trump assassinations too. I don't know what it is with nerds.
Do you remember what I've shared about nerds in Arizona? Let's not forget, Tucson, Arizona is where Revenge of the Nerds was filmed. That was a big part of kind of the riddle I was following. But there's a particular player on the University of Arizona who redshirted, but just what he wears. I mean, there's not very many players that wear glasses, but here you go. You got Bryce James, whose mama is Savannah, kind of like Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie. Anyways, that's a different thing, but just look at that, you guys. Bryce James with the big nerdy glasses. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll just end it there as far as what you were saying. Yeah. Well, Wall says bear down. Yep, bear down. I mean, that goes back to Chicago for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I watch a lot more college basketball than I do NBA basketball these days, and there are very, very, very few players that wear glasses while they play. And even though Bryce hasn't technically played, anytime you see him on a court, he's wearing these big googly-eyed glasses, you know? I don't think that's a coincidence. But either way, let me flip things back to the slides.
I saw he had Trump's birthday, June 14th.
Well, yeah. Yes, thank you. As we got 88 people watching here, Trump 88. Yeah, he has Trump's birthday. Exactly.
So Trump has this tie-in with nerds. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Rambo, for the reminder there. All right, really quick to close things out. Kodi, we'll pass it off to you first, brother. Thank you again for everything that you do for this channel, for this stream, for this collaboration. I know there's so many people in the chat that love what you bring to the table. So we all appreciate it, man. But just a final reminder for anybody who is not familiar with you and your work, let them know where they can find you and support you.
Yeah, thanks again, AJ, for all you do and all the kind words. And again, Rambo, great finds and great work as always. And I really enjoyed the stream. Even though I was a bit tired, I was glad I was able to make through most of it. Yeah, and to everyone in the chat, as I say always, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And if you guys want to find me, as usual, Decoding with Kodi on YouTube, and buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Kodi is where you can support if you'd like. And yeah, great stream, everyone. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, Codes, very much as always. Thank you again for what you do, man. Seriously, keep on keeping on. And yeah, he did change the last digits of his channel, 16461. Make sure to type that in if you guys have a problem finding Decoding with Kodi. My name is AJ, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. You guys can find all of my content here on YouTube, where we're streaming tonight, as well as on Instagram, spelt the same way, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. Please feel free to send me an email if you guys are ever interested in any of the work that I've written over the years. I have no problem sending that to you guys for free. If you guys are interested, let me know. I also have a Patreon, patreon.com/onthemoneyball for anybody interested in sports leans and things like that. But lastly, we are going to hand it off to Rambo to take us home.
Yeah, thanks again. Another great episode. I enjoyed it. Thank you again for promoting my work, allowing me on the platform. And again, thank you to Kodi for being here. The sacrifice he makes. It's always great to see him make it and share his brilliance. And the audience, of course, thank those. And like I usually say, those who haven't seen it yet. Some people will watch this, haven't watched it yet. Thank you to them in advance and all who contributed. And you, AJ, for being the host of all of this and bringing us all together. I appreciate that.
100%. I'm going to be the last advocate here. I'm telling you guys, it's $5 a month, not a day, not a week. I mean, we're talking pennies on the dollar per day for all of Rambo's content. That also includes full access to his Discord. So you guys are fantastic. Yep. Thank you, Rambo, for shouting out the chat. You guys really, truly make this stream what it is. And we very much appreciate all of the contributions. I mean, Maggie, for example, just bringing up the latest death with Donald Gibb, right? We didn't know about that. Maybe it broke the moment we're streaming. I don't know. But point is, you know, whoever it is, you guys are doing a great job as far as helping us stay on top of our game. And it really means a lot. So without further ado, we will wind it down. And just want to wish everyone a great night. Yeah, Maggie, God's so cool. Lean into God, lean into our creator. We are eternal, you guys. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Take care.
Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean and Sylvanians. Bloodlines, overtime, dragon descendants, scripting bread and circus lizards in attendance. Serpent queens, breaking dreams, dragging me down. The underworld royalty is all about how much you can clown. I'm talking about the number 9 too. If you didn't know, well now you do. Numerous fears, what's in the hearse? I am who I am, man with a plan. Where you at with the rebellion? 1 in a million, us against a billionaire reptilians. Look at the word rebellion, spells out the same as the rebel lion. Ain't even trying, ain't living, you're dying. Well done to the skeleton, no time for the bellion. Strawmen led by spellmen, dialectic Hegelian. Everyone's worked up waiting for the aliens. Problem, reaction, solution, little contribution. The script tells that they cast spells like nuclear fusion, spreading confusion, lie distribution. Old as hell, ain't even some new shit.
Wounded radium, cranium, aliens popping up like circadians. Got me spontaneously training in the Palladium gymnasium. Ultimate battle in the extraterrestrial stadium. It really just be the Mediterranean Transylvanians.